Hello, everybody, and of course, welcome back to another episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X. And as you can see, still no Ish, but this will be the last week without Ish. He will join us back for the regular season finale this upcoming week. I should say next week. Of course, this upcoming week will be week 17. So next week, Ish will be back. Don't worry, he is enjoying his vacation. Let's let him enjoy his vacation. But in the meantime, between time, let's all try to recover back from this wild, wild weekend of football, especially what happened yesterday in college football. Woo! If you haven't gotten your breath back yet, you might lose it once again today because it should be a couple of wild games on. And then, of course, Monday we have the big matchup Monday Night Football with Buffalo Bills and Cincinnati Bengals. That'll be very interesting to see how that unfolds. It could come down to the number one seed again, depending on how Kansas City does in their game. This could come down for the number one seed in the AFC. So we'll see how that plays out. Before, of course, we get into all of those games, let's go ahead and, if y'all haven't done so far, let's go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit that red subscribe button and as well hit that notification bell so you can be notified for shows like this one in the future. And as well, if you are on Twitter, check us out on Periscope at XtalknIsh and as well on my personal page at X_Williams81, which I am in the process of retweeting at the moment. So, with that being said, we thank you once again, as always, for tuning in to X Talking Ish. This is a new year. No new year, new me over here. This is a new year. We're going to have a better me and a better X Talking Ish that we're going to bring you guys moving forward. And as always, thank you to my boy Dominique Powell. He said, what it do? Happy New Year, as always. Happy New Year to you and the fam and to everybody else that's tuning in. But before we do get into the games, I just want to say one thing. College football is rigged. I hate college football. I'm tired of watching college football. And I'm going to leave it at that. It's rigged. Michigan does not deserve the bullshit that Michigan got yesterday. But again, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm calm, cool, collected. We're going to get back to professional football because yesterday was just atrocious. So shout out to my big brother X. He said, I just subscribed. Happy New Year's to you and the fam. And Dominique, it ain't funny, man. My heart hurts. My heart hurts. But like I said, let's go ahead and get into the games for this week. As always, on the pregame show, it takes us about an hour to run through the games. We, of course, have our picks. We also have upset pick of the week. And as always, if I was a betting man, picks for today on our sponsor for Prize Picks. So, Cardinals versus Falcons. Look, I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. If you haven't looked at the slate of games this week, most of them are pretty ugly. Most of these games are going to be good teams supposed to be beating on bad teams. There will be a couple of upsets. I mean, let's be honest. If you've checked out the NFL season from week 1 until where we are, week 17, there has been at least 2 upsets every weekend. So I expect more of the same, right? Because of that's just how the NFL has been trending this whole season. You have teams that you don't expect for them to win either, not just a game, but win consecutively, especially in spite of their circumstances out in Carolina areas, the Raiders, right? I mean, it's certain organizations that are winning in spite of either ownership, coaching, players on the field. So with that being said, even though the Falcons are a 6.5-point favorite, wouldn't surprise me at all if this game is a lot closer than the experts think. These are just two teams that are one team is trying to ascend and the other team is trying to just level off. But in reality, both of these teams are kind of the same, but that's not good mainly for the Cardinals because they put so much money into Kyler Murray, put so much money into, of course, Cliff Kingsbury, who might get let go at the end of the season, to where next season they could start looking at themselves like the Falcons when it comes to maybe rebuilding. Most recent news from the Cardinals as well, J.J. Watt most likely will be retiring after this season, so that's going to leave a void for them on defense. If you watch the Cardinals over the last 3 years, I mean, again, if you're being for being subjective, J.J. Watt hasn't really been to the Cardinals what he was with the Texans. Okay, so it's not like the Cardinals are losing that much when they replace J.J. Watt. But overall, the Cardinals they have a lot of soul searching to do in the offseason. Is Kyler Murray your guy, right? At defensive side of the ball, it seems as though you have some passionate leaders like Budda Baker and Isaiah Simmons. You know, I mean, you have some guys over there, but the question remains is when you're looking at the leaders in the locker room, are they going to do the same thing that the Budda Bakers are going to go out there and literally put their lives on the line? I don't see the same type of passion that Kyler Murray has for the game like a Budda Baker or Isaiah Simmons, right? So I think that's going to be something that we're going to have to keep eyes on for the Arizona Cardinals moving forward to see how this all plays out because it is a real dumpster fire over there in Arizona. From the general manager to the head coach, like I said, most likely will be getting fired at the end of the season. To Kyler Murray, before the season even started, we talked about it here on XtalknIsh with the clause that they had in his contract mandating that he studies film. Of course, that all came out on social media. A lot of people joked and laughed and made fun of Kyler for having that clause. Within a day, I think less than 2 days, they went ahead and revised that clause to where he didn't have to do that anymore because Kyler felt slighted. He felt some type of way. Well, after all that has fell out of I guess you could say the fallout from all of that, things aren't looking too good. I'm gonna get to the comment section because it seems as though Fractured and Dominique are pretty much on the same page as me. Fractured one that says Hopkins might be gone next year too. Cardinals in some trouble. Again, that's another name. That's gonna be very interesting to see what happens where he goes. He could be a very great added piece to a team that needs a solid number 2. Because let's be honest, if Hopkins leaves Arizona, I don't know if he stays the number 1 on a contending team. He could be the number 1 on a team like the Packers. The Packers, right? He could go to the Packers, maybe be their number 1. But I don't see the Packers still being competitive enough to make it worthwhile for everybody involved. The Hopkins, the Aaron Rodgers. I just don't know. Dominique Powell also says, yeah, Kingsbury is out of there. Also, Bama says, D-Hop going to the Pats. You can book it, buddy. I don't know. We'll see on that one. One thing about New England, and I've stated, it's not just New England. It's Buffalo, it's Chicago, it's Green Bay. Some of these northern teams, it's very hard to get free agents that actually want to go there, right? So if you do get a big-time free agent like Randy Moss when he left Oakland to come to New England, that was because they were winning and they had Tom Brady. New England does not have that at the moment. I don't know if Hopkins wants to go to New England where they are in a rebuild mode and Hopkins is fighting for decent catches. I don't know if he wants to do that. I don't know if he wants to be a part of that in this part of his career. We'll see what happens with that. I understand where you're coming from on that, Bama, because you're not wrong. If you're somebody that want to revise your career, go to New England and try to win a Super Bowl, but that ship has sailed. The only way I see Hopkins going to New England is if Brady pulls a LeBron and say, I'm coming back home and I'm going back to New England. That's the only way I see that happening. Mac Jones, not too much. Also, Happy New Year to you as well, Bama, and shout out to Dominique Powell. Says, of course, them TCUs going ahead and put on for Texas. Yeah. Again, we're going to stop bringing up old stuff because that hurt my heart. But as y'all can see, Ish and I do have the Falcons winning this game. Let's go ahead and move on. Spend way too much time on that game. Like I said, Bears and Lions, this is an interesting matchup, mainly because this is a divisional game, right? The Bears record-wise, I don't think it reflects how good of a team they are. especially with Justin Fields. They probably should have a win or two more than was on their record, but that's why they play the game, and they are where they're at right now. They can beat the Lions at home. I do believe in the Bears enough to where they can beat the Lions. I just don't think they get it done, mainly because of how well Jared Goff and the Lions do play at home. I'm very impressed with how well the Lions have played from week 1 to, of course, the end of the season at home. Now, once they get on the road, that is a completely different conversation for the Lions, and especially Jared Goff. His numbers just fall off of a cliff when they play road games. For whatever reason why, I do know because they are a young team, that is something that you do have to look out for when it comes to a young team. But when you have a veteran quarterback like Jared Goff, who has been to a Super Bowl, I'm not saying there's no excuse for Jared Goff to put up performances that he has, but it makes you have to take a look at this team a little bit differently, because they're not going to win the division, right? The Vikings pretty much locked up that playoff spot there and are going to win the division. So if they want to get into the playoffs, it will be as a wild card, and they will have to play on the road. And even if they do win, even if they do get to the playoffs, I just don't see them winning a road playoff game. They also, the Lions, right at the moment in NFL, they do have the longest road playoff losing streak dating back to 1989. So with that being said, I just don't. The Lions are a great story. They have, I think, exceeded expectations for this season. I think they've won a lot of people's hearts. If you're not a Detroit fan or even in the Detroit or Michigan region, I think if you watch Hard Knocks over the offseason, you really like Dan Campbell. You like the makeup of this team. You know, as a football aficionado, if you are a football fan, sometimes you want to see the bad teams, the Bengals, right? The Browns, the Lions, the Jacksonville Jaguars, even the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals do not have great history. You sometimes want to see these teams perform better because it's good for the league. Because when you have these teams that are always just going to be the let's kick them to the side type of teams, it's just not good for the casual viewer that's trying to watch football. That's all. Again, it's easy to make fun and jokes of the Lions and the Browns and their misfortunes, but Lions fan base have been waiting too long to have a decent team to root for. They finally have it. They have an opportunity to lay down the foundation for this year, and they can continue to keep on building for years to come. But just hope the organization gives Dan Campbell a little time and also help within the draft and also free agency to try to get some more help in on both sides of the ball. They drafted well last year. I expect them to do the same this year. And on a serious note, watch out for the Lions. The NFC is wide open, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if it continues to be wide open next season as well, especially depending on what happens with Brady. Brady, depending on if he decides to go back to New England or go to an AFC team, wouldn't surprise me at all if he's not in the conference anymore moving forward. All right, let's go ahead and get to the Broncos and the Chiefs, another divisional matchup. And as y'all can sense the theme for this week and also next week, a lot of divisional matchups. The NFL scheduled that way on purpose to make sure that the end of the season mattered as much as the beginning and the middle of the season. The Chiefs are a 12.5-point home favorite against the Broncos. If you're a Chiefs fan, you know the history with you guys and the Broncos. Y'all take care of, as y'all call them, the little ponies. And I see more of the same. I don't see any type of upset today for the Broncos to come in and play a perfect game and beat I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. I'm not about to sit up here and give y'all this false fantasy that's going to happen for the Broncos to where they are able to play the best football of all season and come and upset the Chiefs. The only way that they're going to beat the Chiefs is if literally everybody on the Chiefs get hurt. Patrick Mahomes get hurt, Travis Kelce get hurt. I mean, you got to have some of the fan base on the 50-yard line get hurt as well too, because they would come out and play for the Chiefs and find a way to beat the Broncos. But that's the only way the Broncos are going to win this game. Literally, everybody has to not play at all. And if you are a betting man, go ahead and go get you some of that money. As Dominique Powell says, hey, easy game to win some money on. They going to cover easy. Look, I agree. I mean, it's the only way the Chiefs don't take care of business is if they literally just come out there and don't take care of business and go out there and lollygag and BS around. But it's too late in the season. They're too good of a team. They know how to win and take care of business to make sure that they don't have to have a hiccup type of performance, because they also know too that if they lose this game, they can lose out on that number one seed in the AFC. They would rather have things go through Kansas City compared to going to Buffalo or even Cincinnati. So again, that's something that Kansas City is very well aware of. They do not want to lose that number one, or lose out in this game to lose out on the number one seed. Fraction One also says in the last topic, he says, I got the Bears today. He says, G-Off going to blow it today. Okay, well, we shall see how that one goes. Again, when it comes to history this past season, I got to go with the way Jared Goff has played at home. He has played exceptional. Again, if the Bears come in and pull the upset, it would surprise me. It honestly would surprise me, but I think the Lions are. It's something about the home cooking. Something about, maybe it's the Detroit style pizza. Maybe it's the Little Caesars. Maybe it's, I don't know. Coney Island hot dogs. I don't know what it is, but it's something about Detroit that they enjoy playing at home. All right. Dolphins and the Patriots. Again, another divisional matchup that is pretty important, especially to both teams. At the moment, if the playoffs were to start right now, the Dolphins, let's see, I want to double check on this one because I could have sworn, yes, the Dolphins are the number 7 seed and the Patriots are the number 8 seed. They are on the outside looking in. So as you see, this game is very, very important. With them going up north, I'm talking about, of course, the Miami Dolphins. We'll, of course, have to see how weather-wise will it be affected to them. Luckily enough, it looks like game time weather will be around 52 degrees, no rain, no snow. So comparison to what the Dolphins were just in just a couple weeks ago playing in Buffalo, this should be a breeze. This should be kind of almost like the LA Chargers game where they went to LA just a couple weeks ago to play them. At the moment, Ish and I do have the Dolphins winning this game. And it mainly comes down to, for me, it comes down to just the talent level. Bill Belichick is a better coach than Mike McDaniels. We're not about to sit here and argue that. We're not about to sit here and say, oh, what about this piece and that piece? And it comes down to, at the end of the day, the Dolphins have a better offensive talent. Might not be on the defensive side of the ball. You might want to give the edge to the Patriots on the defensive side of the ball on talent. But as long as Tua can stay upright and not bounce his head off the damn turf this game, he has an opportunity with the Dolphins to make a statement in New England to win this game and try to hold on to the 7th seed. And my apologies as well. Thank you, Fracture Wanda, for reminding me, because I must have had a concussion just watching Tua, because I definitely forgot that, yes, Tua is out for this game, meaning that Teddy Two Gloves will have the start for today. So thank you for reminding me on that one, Fracture Wanda. It definitely slipped my mind. Fracture Wanda says Teddy Two Gloves got this today. Dolphins winning by 10. Again, for whatever reason, people discredit Teddy Two Gloves as in just being a serviceable quarterback. We've seen him over the years past just come in there and dink and dunk and manage the ball game and play well and win games for you. This could be this could be the one game where he's playing the way that he needs to play to get the Dolphins a much needed win. And the Dolphins are able to, of course, go back home and regroup and get ready for week 18. But if I'm the Dolphins, this is a game you cannot let slip out of your hands. Yes, you are on the road. Yes, you are playing in New England. But when it comes down to everything, the Dolphins are a better team. So you have to take care of business. If the Patriots are able to get their pass rush to Teddy Bridgewater and he's not able to be comfortable in the pocket, yeah, it's going to be a long day. Now, that's something that Bill Belichick, I'm pretty sure, is already scheming up, making sure you take away Tyreek Hill and finding a way to get Teddy Bridgewater uncomfortable in the pocket. And we'll have to see, of course, how this game plays out. Dominic Powell says Dolphins versus the Patriots. That's going to be a good one. Wouldn't mess with it, but I'm a rock with the Pats in a tight one. The only thing that would make me push back is the Pats trash offense. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not mad at your pick at all because you're not wrong on your statement, Dominic. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all. That's the reason why the Patriots are 2.5-point favorite. It wouldn't surprise me at all. The Patriots do win this game, especially with Tua being out. But if you are the Dolphins, you have to find a way. This is a game where you're going to find out a lot about not just yourself, but your teammates around you on who wants it more. The Miami Dolphins have a lot of former Patriot players on that team, and this game is personal to them. I know it is. Trust me, I know it is. So I have the Dolphins winning this game. I think that they will find a way to win this game, to bring it back to Miami, to get ready for week 18. And I just want to double check and see who they are playing week 18. They're playing, of course, the New York Jets. And again, depending on how the Jets and Seattle plays out, which we'll talk about shortly, again, that could be a very important game, week 18, for playoffs. That could be literally for the playoffs for both of those teams. So Dolphins, control your own destiny. You have an opportunity to win out and go to the playoffs. If you lose, you gotta hope for everybody else to lose too, and hopefully get in there. Fraction one that says, like Ish says, if your offense is crappy, put in Zappy. Well, we'll see how their offense is because I know Ish wants some Zappy in there, but obviously the Patriots do not care for Zappy because they keep throwing Mac Jones back in there. So let's see what happens with that. The Colts in the Giants. Woo! Can we just take a moment just to just inhale, exhale for these two teams? Because the way that they started this season, mainly the Giants came out the gate just guns a-blazing, right? Started the season out hot. And I told everybody, I tried to tell Ish, nobody wanted to listen to me. That's fine. But I said, let's wait and see what happens in the second half of the season because this seems a little fluky. Everybody kept saying I was a hater, but I just wanted to see more. And now after seeing in the second half of the season, I mean, it has been not good. Been not good. I'm just going to leave it at that. And for the Colts, do not get me started on the Colts in the way that they have mismanaged this whole season. It's rare that both of these teams come in with a tie, right? Both of these teams are playing each other with a tie on their record. I would say I feel bad for Jeff Saturday, but I honestly don't. Because he knew what he was getting himself into. He already talked about it in the press conference when he got hired that, look, I don't have the coaching credentials that everybody else has, but I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try to be a leader of men, right? And it was cute. It was cute and all when he had the little press conference. And I said it here on XtalknIsh. Okay. All this talking and stuff don't mean nothing. Let's go see how it is on the field. Week one, right? Everything was all happy and joyful and have not been able to win a game since. So they are on track to probably lose another game today and then lose their season finale next week. And that would put Jeff Saturday as a head coaching record at 1-7. But who knows? Maybe he could win next week. Next week they do play the Texans, and we all know that the Texans don't care about winning this season. So hopefully for Jeff Saturday, he could be 2-6 as a head coach, right? So I mean, we all probably know that Jeff Saturday will not be back as the head coach next season, and that's perfectly fine. Jeff Saturday gonna get his thank you for helping me out from Jim Irsay. Here goes your nice little extra bonus for helping me out, the extra $2.5 million. But for the most part, this is they are who we thought they were, the Colts. I mean, it's sad to say that people thought that this was really going to work. People thought this was really going to work. I said it was not. Again, people call me a hater, but you're bringing a guy in from the ESPN booth, not a guy that's calling the game, like going out to go get Troy Aikman to actually call the game. You're getting a guy that's on ESPN 2 or 3 days out of the week to come and coach the game because you used to play for the you know what? The more I talk about this, the more it just never made sense from the beginning. But I'm going to leave it there. Let's get to the comment section because my boy Fracture Warner talking about Danny Dimes. He said Danny Dimes going to drop dimes everywhere today. Colts just a bad team. He says, what are the chances that the game ends in a tie? Well, technically, when it comes down to percentage-wise, it'll probably be that, about 1.3% at the moment. I don't know. I got to go look at those numbers, but there is a chance. It wouldn't surprise me at all, but there is a chance. Greg also says on YouTube, I don't feel bad for Jeff Saturday either. On paper and based on the eye test, the Colts freaking stink. Fracture One also says, I love this for the Colts. It just means McCown won't be in the thoughts of the Texans. Keep up the good work, Jeff. Well, let's not bring up the Texans and Josh McCown, because if things were to go the way that the Texans really wanted it to go, they would have hired Josh McCown last season, and the Texans would be in the same position that they are right now. So it is what it is. Before we move on, though, I don't know how attractive this coach job is to a coach moving forward, because I don't know how much longer Frank Wright has. That's the heck. I'm sorry. Obviously Frank Wright. I'm sorry. I don't know if that coaching position is that. How can I say? Is that sexy of a job, because you don't know who your quarterback is going to be, right? It's not like if you go to the Chargers or even the Broncos, where is going to be Russell Wilson, right? We just got to build a little bit here and there on both sides of the ball. With the Colts, I mean, you have a Darius Leonard who's been out all year with a back injury. Is he ever going to be the same, right? You have pieces all around that we still don't know how good Michael Pittman really can be. Michael Pittman can probably be a top 5 wide receiver, and he also can be a bottom 15 receiver if he's not as productive as he should be. But again, we just don't know, because it's this team has not been able to look good on a consistent basis for us to say, okay, this guy is this. Even with Jonathan Taylor for the last 2 years, everybody keeps trying to put him above Derrick Henry, like he's just that much better of a running back than Derrick Henry, and it's not the case. He can't even stay healthy. So y'all got, the media has to stop with that. So for the Colts, they need to figure out who they are. Jim Irsay, you need to figure out if you can stay off of those illegal drugs and take care of your business and figure out how to try to bring another Super Bowl back to the city. Jim Irsay has already talked about in the next 10 years, he's going to bring a Super Bowl to Indianapolis. Like I said before, please lay off the drugs. All right. Greg says on the scale of 1 to 10, the Colts coaching job is maybe like a 3 as far as attractiveness. I'm being generous, by the way. I agree. I mean, look, I'll give it a 3. And again, living in that city too, that city in that state, it ain't sexy either. Not like you're going to live in Cali or LA or Miami or New York. It's Indiana. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. All right. Saints and the Eagles. Like I said earlier in the show, a lot of good teams beating up on bad teams. More of the same. Even with Justin Hurts, Jalen Hurts, my apologies. Even with Jalen Hurts not playing today, I expect the Eagles at home to take care of business. This is also probably one of those, how can you say, not even a revenge game, but just let you know who I am for Darius Gardner. He's, of course, going to hopefully have him a decent game against his former team that traded him away to the Eagles. Again, oh, my bad. And there's Gardner Johnson is out for an IR. Again, I'm just realizing that right now. Apparently, he won't be playing because he's on IR. So, yeah, CJ Gardner Johnson, my apologies. He won't be playing this year or this game because he's obviously out for the rest of the year. So, with that being said, it's more just the Eagles taking care of business. And also the other intrigue in this game is the Eagles also have the Saints pick in next year's upcoming draft. So, if the Eagles beat the Saints, it allows them to climb up a little bit higher on that top 10 pick. If the Saints beat the Eagles, obviously their pick goes down a little bit lower in the draft standings. So Eagles should take care of business. Fly, Eagles, fly. We're not going to talk too much on that game because Eagles should take care of business. Greg says Minshew shouldn't have more than 25 passing attempts. Hashtag ground game. The best game. Hey, that's how you keep a quarterback upright. That's how you allow a quarterback to feel as though that the game is not on their shoulders, to where you don't have to worry about doing too much. Go out there, stick to the game plan, execute the game plan, and we come out there with a dub. Shout out to Greg out there with the beautiful football coaching. We need to go ahead and put him out on the sideline so he can get him some special teams working. Greg, my special teams coordinator. We'll get this Little League team set up. Fracture One also says, if the Eagles lose this week, will you start to worry about them? That's a great question, honestly. That really is a great question. Mainly, and the reason why Fracture says that is because, I mean, if you look at this, the way that they've played, it hasn't been horrible, right? But they're obviously not themselves with Jalen Hurts is not the QB under center, right? And you can say that about a lot of different teams in the NFL. But it's hard to worry about a team that's won 13 games in the NFL so far, right? Last week they lost to the Cowboys, Christmas Eve, only lost by 6. You know, it's in Dallas, so I'm not about to say that the world is falling for the Eagles. But this is a game where you probably want to win to not have to have those questions come up like Fracture, what I was talking about is, hey, are y'all worried about the way y'all playing going into the postseason? Because you want to start playing your best ball going into the postseason. And they do play next week. I just want to double check and see. They do play, if I can find them, they play the Giants. They do play the Giants next week, which is it's a difficult game. It's not a winnable game like this one. This is a lot more of a winnable game than next week. So you do not want to go into the playoffs with a 3-game losing streak, right? That's not something I don't think anybody wants to get into. So we'll see how that plays out. But let's see how this game plays out. Well, and I'll answer that. I'll rebuttal to that one on Tuesday. If they lose by last-second field goal, and again with a backup quarterback, and I'm not worried too much. If they get demolished and the Saints come in there and Taysom Hill's Swiss Army knifes them up, yeah, I think I will have a little concerns, but they should take care of business, right? That's what I think. They should take care of business. We'll see what happens. All right, our don't be upset picks of the week. I will start off with, I have the Dolphins over the Patriots under Vegas standards. They do have the Dolphins as an underdog, so I'm going to go with them being the winners in that game. And for Ish's don't be upset pick of the week, he has the Panthers over the Buccaneers, which is completely understandable, and we'll get to that game a little bit later. And I can understand why he picks the Panthers. Panthers have been playing really, really good football lately, especially the running attack. But we'll get to that game shortly. Also, If I was a betting man, y'all know what we do out here on these prize picks. Promo code PR-AVA61PN. And for myself, my 4 picks that I have for this upcoming Sunday slate of games, I have Jared Goff going over 34.5 passing. Actually, my apologies. Actually, passing attempts. That should be completions. That should be passing attempts. I want to double check on that one too, because I could have sworn I said passing attempts, not completions. Anyways, Kirk Cousins is also going over 263.5 passing yards. I have that for the over. I also have Aaron Rodgers going over 253 passing yards, and also have Leonard Fournette rushing for over 10.5 rushing attempts. I just looked at Carolina's run defense. They are bottom half, number 22 in rush defense. I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that's something that Tom Brady and the crew have looked into and hopefully established the run early and often, and hopefully Leonard Fournette can easily take over that rushing attempts. Let's see. Yep, that's definitely pass. That's pass attempts for Jared Goff. So I have 34.5 pass attempts for Mr. Goff. And like I said, with the way that he plays at home, I don't see why that can't come to fruition. I don't know if y'all kept up with me and my prize picks for this year, but they have not been good. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Me and prize picks are not friends. I don't know if we're going to be able to get over this relationship. I might have to break up with prize picks and move on to something else because one thing about me, I don't like losing money. So I might have to go elsewhere to win me some money because right now, not a good look. And as always, if you need your haircut, because I know I do, that's why I got the cap on, go ahead and check out Imperial King's Barbershop. Make sure you ask for Jason and go ahead and get you a nice little fade when you go to Imperial King's Barbershop on 9218 FM 1960. Go ahead and give Jason a call at 346-355-8255 and make sure you let him know the XtalknIsh sent you so you can get faded up over there. All right, let's go ahead and get back to the games. Like we just talked about with the Panthers and the Buccaneers, mainly about their lack of rushing defense. And if Dominique Powell's still on the cast, I know he can firsthand talk about the Panthers. I mean, I feel as though they show glimpses of good overall play on both sides of the ball, especially being able to get rid of the toxicity within the locker room with Baker Mayfield and even Robbie Anderson. And then, of course, head coach, there we go. And, of course, head coach Matt Rule. You have a coach in Steve Wilks that seems as though, I mean, obviously coaching a lot better than Jeff Saturday, but we're not going to use Jeff Saturday as the benchmark to determine how good of a coach you are. But like Ish and I have talked about on this show since Steve Wilks has gotten the interim tag, I just don't know if the Panthers organization is going to give Steve Wilks an opportunity. That's the only issue. Is Steve Wilks the perfect fit for the Panthers as a coach? Probably not. But guess what? Sometimes things like that, sometimes when the thing that you're not looking for kind of falls into your lap, it turns out to be the best thing for you and your organization, right? We hear that a lot with different coaches and organizations. I use an example with the Miami Heat. You had a guy like Eric Spoelstra, who was a video guy who was just a guy, and because of the hard work and effort that he put in on a daily basis, Pat Riley, of course, noticed that and was able to elevate him to head coach, and he's been a head coach ever since. We've seen guys, of course, like Mike Tomlin, right? We've seen Mike Tomlin start off as a special teams coach, and has been the head coach for the Steelers for quite some time now. We see guys like John Harbaugh, go from a special teams coach to a head coach, right? So, I mean, Steve Wilks, he's been a head coach before. He just unfortunately didn't get an opportunity to really be a head coach for more than a year. Will he get the opportunity, not just with the Panthers, but someone else? Again, we just don't know, because depending on the organization, a lot of these organizations are trying to go younger, right? A lot of these organizations look at a Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniels, and they're looking at this younger talent and trying to get this young offensive explosive game plan in there. But every organization doesn't look at things that way. Some organizations like that veteran presence that know what they're doing, that can come in and turn the organization around in a year, like a Doug Peterson is doing right now in Jacksonville. So it just really all depends on your organization and what you are trying to do for the future. Again, I'm not in that Panthers locker room, meeting rooms to know their mindset on what they're trying to do. But I need Dominique Powell on this one. I need you to let me know what is the direction you would want your Carolina Panthers to go in 2023 and beyond. Dominique Powell says, "Yeah, X, we finna knock Brady in the mouth again." Frank Shawana says, "Dominique, what do you think about y'all drafting Will Levis this year?" Fracture One also says, "Also, what do you think about the rumor of y'all trading for Mike Tomlin?" Okay, we'll see about that. I'm gonna let you know right now, Fracture One, that Pittsburgh Steelers are not taking any type of trade from the Carolina Panthers to trade away Mike Tomlin. That's not gonna happen. I'm just my opinion. I could be wrong. I'm just saying this. That's not how the Steelers organization rock. So we'll see what happens with that. Dominique Powell says, "Get a dub next week and give Dallas a run for their money." He says, "But yeah, Wilks deserves it, X." Look, we've seen it all. We've seen it before. No matter if it's playing football, watching football, coaching football, or just life in general. Just because you deserve something don't mean somebody gonna give it to you. That's the unfortunate hard lesson in life. A lot of us got to learn the hard way, right? Just because you put in that work and you feel as though you're the best candidate and you're supposed to be in this position, doesn't mean somebody gonna give you the job. So something to think about. It's something to think about. Fracture One says in an earlier comment I didn't really get to, he says, "Don't be upset when the Texans beat the Jags." He also says, "Don't be upset when the Cards lose and Cliff is fired after the game today." Well, I won't be upset. That's something that you might have talked to Ish about. You know how Ish loves him some Cliff Kingsbury. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Browns and the Commanders. And if you were to combine the Browns color scheme with the Commanders color scheme and put it together, it would look like this game, which means it's going to look like shit. I don't really know where to go with this game, because here's the thing with the Commanders. Commanders are actually a pretty decent team. They get into these dogfights. They find ways to win games. They have some decent players all across the field. Just Chase Young hasn't been there all season long. Terry McLaurin, he can only do what he can do. Taylor Heinicke is just not that guy that's going to scare people, right? But when you have a coach like Ron Rivera who's able to rally the troops and find ways to win games you're not supposed to, that's what makes this team a lot more dangerous than you would expect them to be. For the Browns, and I've stated this since Deshaun Watson has become the starter once again for the Browns, this season for them is over with. They're just trying to establish some things on the offensive side of the ball to work towards next season, and we'll see a different Browns team this year. I think this is a good opportunity for them to try to win a game they're not supposed to, with the Commanders being obviously at home as a 1.5 point underdog. Oh, sorry, favorite. Being a 1.5 favorite doesn't mean that that's an automatic win at all. So Vegas sees this game almost pretty even, is the way I see it. And I think the Browns can come in there and upset the Commanders, and as long as you can get Wentz off his spot and create some turnovers, why not, right? Fracture Wanda says Wentz is starting this week. I believe so. I'm going with the Commanders to help the Texans with that draft pick. Dominique Powell says, Fracture Wanda, I'll take him, but I heard some rumblings that he's not a finished product yet. I know none of them are, but I don't want to miss on QBs. But if he's the only one left out of the top three, you got to take him. Look, I'll say this. When it comes to all the quarterbacks that are coming out this upcoming draft, there is no for sure quarterback saying that you need to have this guy. Every quarterback that, from what I've seen, bring different skill sets to the table. But also, there is no guy out here that you could just put in any system and say, he's going to flourish in that system. He's going to flourish. Some of these quarterbacks need to be put in a system that, of course, obviously best suits their attributes to help them become a better quarterback. But if you get Will Levis and put him in a shitty system, he's going to be a shitty quarterback. Like, it is what it is. I think Will Levis is a good quarterback. I see plenty of Texan fans hyping him up, hoping he comes to the Texans. I don't know what direction this is the thing with the Texans. Like, I don't know what direction they want to go into with the draft. Is do you want to go with the safe bet and get a defensive piece like Will Anderson Jr.? Do you want to get that quarterback piece that can create some buzz to help bring back some pieces to Houston? If I'm the Texans, and if I'm going to go out and go get DeMeco Ryans as the head coach, which I would do, I would hook up DeMeco Ryans with a solid defensive piece like Will Anderson Jr. because we've seen time and time again that you can go and get a quarterback later on in the rounds, and as long as that quarterback is a game-managing quarterback, you have a chance. The Texans were able to play good football with Max Schaub just 10 years ago, and Max Schaub is a game-managing quarterback. He's not somebody that's going to come out there and he was never better than Deshaun Watson. Never. We saw what the Texans were able to do with Deshaun Watson, right? Now that he's gone, you have two good examples of what you could do when you get a top draft pick and what you could do with a guy that came over from, of course, Atlanta and was a guy that was an afterthought, and you were still able to be competitive. The Texans have a lot more things that they need to figure out, and it's not just with the quarterback position. It's more than that. All right. Greg says, you think Deshaun Watson will get out of his funk? I don't remember Michael Vick taking this long to get his groove back. Sorry for the comparison, but it happens. I mean, I've seen the same thing. Again, I kind of laugh at it because it's not the same thing. But again, look, I got it. Everybody want to compare and all that good stuff. Let's wait till next season. Okay, if you're still looking this bad, obviously we're going to have questions and concerns. But let's wait until next year. Last time I remember, too, if we want to go back and think about things that happened to Michael Vick, did Mike Vick win anything with the Eagles? I'll wait. Okay. So with that being said, let's stop with these comparisons. This is 2023. Let's figure out this upcoming next season for Deshaun Watson and see what go with that. Fracture One also says Malik Willis is the place you look at for a system failing the cube. I mean, look, I'm gonna leave it at this. I'm sorry. Malik Willis should have never went that high in the draft in the first place. It don't matter if it was to the Titans or the Steelers or the Texans or the Bengals, whoever. Should have never went that high in the first place. And the Titans are not a organization that have built quarterbacks within their organization. He does not look comfortable in the system, on the team. He just does not look like a good quarterback. And I'll be honest with you, he can go elsewhere. I mean, he can go to the 49ers, right? They have a quarterback-friendly offense. I just don't think he's a good quarterback. And the reason why I said is we just saw it on Thursday night. You had a guy, Joshua Dobbs, who over his NFL career, starting back with the Steelers, who I've always stated that wasn't really a good quarterback either. But he was able to come in with less than 2 weeks of preparation and throw for more yardage than Malik Willis has thrown in his multiple starts as an NFL quarterback. That's a problem. And if nobody wants to see that, like, I don't understand why we keep using this notion of nobody likes black quarterbacks. Like, can we stop that, please? Because we are in an era now where obviously black quarterbacks are out here thriving, and I'm judging these quarterbacks based on their play. I'm not judging these quarterbacks based on, oh, well, he's black, you need to go be a wide receiver. He's black, you need to go be a kick returner. Malik Willis went to college at Auburn. He transferred to Liberty. Like, let's stop trying to talk about this guy like he played at USC, Oklahoma, Alabama. Stop. All right. That's my rant. I'm going to leave it alone. Stop. Move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Texans. It could be nasty all you want to. I'm gonna keep real on here. I'm not about to sit out here and sugarcoat nothing for y'all because they make people uncomfortable. I'm not doing that shit because we need to be realistic when it comes to talking about what we're talking about. I will talk about the same when it comes to Nathan Peterman or Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew is not that great. I've already said the same thing about Gardner Minshew when he played for Jacksonville Jaguars. Everybody's hyping him up because he came from Mike Leach offensive style, and he was out here with the stupid ass Uncle Rico mustache, and he was so cool with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Guess what? His ass don't play for Jacksonville Jaguars no more. And if he doesn't perform for the Eagles, his ass gonna get cut too. So we can keep making things about race and making things about this and start crying about this, that, and third. Can we talk about the play on the field, please? That's what I talk about. So we'll leave it at that. Let's go ahead and move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Texans. Again, another game where the Texans are going to find a way to lead the game, winning the game by the fourth quarter, and then they will say, you know what, we don't want to win the game. We'll go ahead and let the Jacksonville Jaguars win the game. That's what's going to happen. I'm banking it right now. The Texans will be up by at least 10 points on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Jacksonville Jaguars will find a way to come back and win this game. Mark my words. You heard it here first on XtalknIsh. It's not like it's going to be a surprise. It's not like the Texans haven't done this recently in the past couple of weeks now with other teams. It's really not too much to talk about. I know we have Texas fans on here. My boy Greg and Fresh Water. I know y'all Texas fans, but y'all know what it is. Like y'all want that number one pick. I just hope for the Texans, y'all make do on the number one pick and don't fuck it up. All right. 49ers and the Raiders used to be, of course, one of Cali's finest rivalries back in the day. Now, of course, Raiders are in Las Vegas. The rivalry's still there, just not in Cali. And for this matchup, we do have the 49ers winning this game, mainly because one team is ascending, the other team is the Raiders. So, again, more of the same when it comes to how this game is going to play out with other games in the NFL, just good teams beating up on bad teams. The Raiders have a lot of soul searching to do. We know that Derek Carr has now been benched for the last two games. Seems as though, of course, Derek Carr is on his way out and could be a very serviceable quarterback for a team moving forward. We just talked about the Texans in the last segment. That is a team that probably could be on the lookout for a quarterback replacement like Derek Carr. Of course, obviously his brother, number one draft pick, 2002 for the Houston Texans back in the day when Derek Carr was a young kid out here in Houston. He was able to, of course, go through the high school ranks and play here, and then, of course, play at Fresno State. And he's stated that he wished the Texans would have drafted him to make up for what David wasn't able to get out of it for them. Is it a match made in heaven? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what happens. Derek Carr is also kind of linked to the Texans as well. The Titans as well, too, when it comes to his offensive coordinator, Ty Downing, being his quarterback coach back just some time ago with the Raiders. That could be a possibility, him falling there. Maybe the Patriots, right? It'd be interesting to see who gets Derek Carr in the Derek Carr sweepstakes. But I will say, whoever gets Derek Carr is obviously going to be before the draft, because you've got to get him to figure out where you're going to go within the draft and also free agency. So just going back to what I talked about with the Texans, if the Texans are, look, I think it's a great pickup. If you are the Texans, you go and get Derek Carr, you establish the quarterback position. Cool. That's good and done. You bring back Michi. Michi, of course, has been out all season due to his leukemia stuff. He's going to be hopefully healthy and ready to play next season. You have a young defense. You add on more with Will Anderson Jr. hopefully get to the draft. You get a coach like a D'Amico Ryans who can focus on the defense side of the ball. You have a veteran presence like Derek Carr who can hopefully manage the offense without having too much coaching input. You in a shitty division like the AFC South, you right back in the thick of things moving forward for the next year or two. I think it's a great opportunity if you are the Texans to not have to worry about bringing somebody in the college ranks who you don't know. Like, you don't know how good Bryce Young is going to be. You don't know how good Will Levis is going to be. You do not know how good these guys are going to be, because college talent does not translate over to NFL talent. It does not. So just because Bryce Young had a great bowl game yesterday does not mean that he's going to be doing that in the NFL. Again, if the Texans are smart, learn from your mistakes in the past and try to not recreate those. Fraxwana says the last two games are auditions for the Raiders for them to get Tom Brady. I don't know about that one. I'm gonna keep it real with you on this one, Fraxwana. The Raiders as an organization is just it's not working. And I think Tom Brady is too smart of a person to know that I don't need to go to that dumpster fire. I don't think so. Fraxwana says, I really hope they take the kid out of TCU with their second first-round pick. So you're talking about Max Dunn. I'm assuming you're talking about Max Dunn, the quarterback. Also, Dominique Powell says, yeah, I believe Brady goes to the Raiders next year. Him and Gronk, that's where they wanted to go to begin with. Why does everybody want to keep bringing Gronk back? Y'all know Gronk ain't playing no more, right? For whatever reason, everybody keep thinking Gronk gonna come back and play. I had no problems with him coming back and playing in Tampa, but Gronk don't want to play no more, guys. If you go ask somebody like Fraction Walnut, go ask any of my friends that played offensive lineman, defensive lineman, that get hit on a consistent basis. When you stop getting hit and you're relaxing for a little bit, I promise you, when your body say like, hey, bro, I'm happy that we have this break, you do not want to go back and go endure that punishment. Gronk is good. He can go make money the rest of his life just for being Gronk. He does not need football. There's some people out here that need football because they have to. That's the only way they can get a check. Gronk don't need football. I don't think Gronk comes back. My humble opinion, I don't think he does. All right, let's finish. Go ahead, finish off these games with the Jets and the Seahawks. I'm more disappointed in Ishmael for not going with his Jets. He has fallen off his Jets wagon, his Danny Dimes wagon. He didn't pick Danny Dimes and the Giants to win. He didn't pick Danny Dimes and the Giants to win last week. He did pick them this week, but overall, his Jets have not been able to come out of that tailspin with Zach Wilson and just the way that has fallen down and not have been able to really fall into place the way it should. Mike White is back starting once again. But I have the Seahawks winning this game just due to better coaching, better overall quarterback play, better consistent quarterback play. And I think the Seahawks and Ish as well, as you see, I think they take care of business. I think the Jets missed the playoffs. I think the Jets find a way to miss the playoffs this year. It's unfortunate because they do have a lot of young talent, a lot of guys that are changing the culture within the Jets organization. And it seems as though that the Jets are going to part ways with Zach Wilson in just a year of drafting him. They are already going to part ways. That's why I say it all the time. I'll say it once, I'll say it every damn time. Contracts do not mean nothing in the NFL. Cap space and all that fun stuff everybody wants to make up does not mean anything in the NFL. If general managers and organizations want to find a way to either get a player, restructure contract, do whatever they need to do to get certain people into the building, they will do that. If they want to cut somebody or if they want to find a way to move on from a player, they will do that. People got to stop looking at, oh, Patrick Mahomes got a 10-year, $500 million contract. Oh, my. The Chiefs wanted to, they would have cut him at the year 3 if he wasn't performing. That's just how business is ran, especially in the sports industry. We gotta stop thinking and making it seem like, oh, look at these players. I mean, they are able to, of course, make all this money and be with one organization for 5 years now, and this, that, and the third. They might make their money, but they're not going to be with that organization for 5 years if you're not producing the way your contract said you're supposed to produce. So we'll follow up with that game on Tuesday. But for the most part, like I said, I got the Seahawks winning that one. Fractional One also says, not X. I'm talking about the wide receiver, Johnston. Yes. Out of TCU. Again, very good wide receiver. Seen a lot of people boast about him and his play. But I will say this. I'm not saying he's not a good wide receiver, but if you go look at TCU wide receiver histories within the draft, very hit or miss. Very hit or miss right now. I'm not saying that he will continue the miss path, but before you would go pick a TCU wide receiver, just go look at the history of how they played in the NFL after being drafted. All right, Vikings and Packers. Packers are a 3-point favorite at home. Ish and I have the Vikings winning this one. The Vikings this season, comparison to last 2 or 3 seasons, they know how to finish close and competitive games. That is the difference maker with them. Besides, of course, obviously the way Kirk Cousins and the crew has been playing, it's the coaching staff, the new coaches that have come in, Kevin O'Donnell coming in from LA, being able to, I would think, woosah the team and let them and remind them how good they are and let them know that we got this game. And I think that's the biggest change. We can go back to the Dallas beatdown that Dallas put on them about almost a month ago, right? And we can joke about how bad the Vikings are. But I will say this once, I'll say it all the time. Playoffs are a different beast. Vikings and Cowboys can run it back one more time in the playoffs, and that could be a completely different outcome. The Cowboys and Eagles can run it back in the playoffs. It could be a completely different outcome. So do not sleep on the Vikings. They are trending in the right direction. I think they find a way to upset the Packers on the road, and the Packers pretty much should just go ahead and get ready for next season, because if they lose this game, they will not be able to make the playoffs. Greg says, what's the percentage of Rodgers coming back to the Packers next year? I'll give it about, honestly, I give about 40. I know that sounds high, but I give about 40%. Unless another team just comes with a great package and gets them up out of there. I just don't know who takes on that contract. I don't know who believes in Aaron Rodgers at his age, right? Because that's a factor too. Even though he's playing well, some people could be worried and concerned about, well, what if he does get hurt and we wasting his money like Russell Wilson. No shade over there, but maybe in Denver, you're already having second thoughts. So we'll see what happens in year 2 with Russell and the crew. But for Aaron Rodgers, if he wanted to leave Green Bay, it would have been last year. If he wanted to leave Green Bay, it would have been last year to do so. All right, Rams Chargers, not too much to talk about here except for, of course, Baker Mayfield, right? Everybody loves Baker Mayfield now. Woo! Baker Mayfield got him a redemption another redemption opportunity team to play with the Rams, and we'll see how that goes. Greg says, what teams do you see Rodgers going to? At the moment, the 3 teams, I would say 49ers, the Raiders to pair him back with Devontae Adams, and maybe the Tennessee Titans. Again, maybe, depending on how they want to do what they want to do with that trade. Trade Tannehill with a couple of the picks for Rodgers. That's the only thing that I can see there. Another dark horse team. Maybe the Atlanta Falcons. Again, I don't see it, but you never know what happens. All right. Like I said, Rams and Chargers. This is, again, another game for Baker to audition to play for the Rams next season. Justin Herbert and them need to take care of business and win this game and get ready for the playoffs. They've already secured their playoff spot, but this is a game for the Chargers to get in and get out, win this game, get players in and out of that game without getting hurt, and just, again, getting ready for the playoffs. The Rams are pretty much a shell themselves. Everybody is on IR for the most part, and Baker will go out there and just go sling that thing like this game actually matters. And people are going to ride the Baker hype train once again, and they're going to find a way to hype up Baker next year to try to say look, he's back. He's back. Okay. Don't fall for the hype, everybody. I know y'all will, though, but don't fall for it. All right, Steelers and Ravens on Sunday Night Football. Of course, another game without Lamar Jackson for the Ravens. The main reason why I have the Steelers winning this game, and I wish Ish was on here so he could explain, I'm hoping Mike Tomlin don't go under 500. Keep the under 500 streak alive. Or sorry, over 500 streak alive. Let's be 9-8, Tomlin. You can do it. You win this game, you're 8-8. You win week 18, you're 9-8. It could possibly happen still. But also with the Ravens being at home with a 2-point favorite, they definitely can win this game. But I like the way the Steelers are trending the last couple of weeks towards the end of the season. Kenny Pickett is getting a little better. I don't unfortunately, I don't see what I would have wanted to see from him his rookie season. But on the ground with his running game, that's probably, I think, the most surprising thing from Kenny, besides his obviously his arm talent. I don't think a lot of people assume that he could run the ball the way that he's been able to run the ball so far. So, again, another game where Steelers will check in y'all in 2023 next season. And for the Ravens, they are in the playoffs. At the moment, they are in the playoffs, and they will be in the playoffs. They're in the 5 seed. Most likely will be playing against the divisional winner of the AFC South. So either the Jags or the Titans will most likely be playing against them. And I'm assuming that that's the reason why, of course, the Ravens are holding Lamar Jackson back so he can be ready for the playoffs and try to get them another playoff win under Lamar Jackson's belt. All right, let's go ahead and finish it up with Monday Night Football, the Bills versus Bengals. This probably and hopefully be the best game of the Week 17 slate. The Bills are a 1-point favorite on the road, but in reality, this game definitely is a pick 'em. As you can see, I have the Bengals. Ish has the Bills. I was going to go with the Bills, but one thing about that boy Joe Burr, he keeps on proving everybody wrong, and I think he does it again. I think he finds a way to beat the Bills, and again, depending on how the Chiefs game plays out for this week, and of course next week, the Bengals could maybe slide up into that number 2 seed. Or they could stay the number 3 seed. But this is going to be a very interesting matchup. Hopefully the weather is cooperative and we don't have too much crazy weather going on over there in Cincy. But I'm excited to see this game on Monday. I think this is going to be a game that we might look back on and hopefully get a rematch in the AFC playoffs because, of course, this was a rematch for the AFC championship game last year. My apologies. No, it was not. This was one of the the Bengals and the Chiefs was the AFC championship game of last season. So again, maybe we can get a AFC championship matchup for this season. They can play week 17, and then maybe we see both these teams in the AFC championship game for this season. Who knows? Maybe we can see that. But for the most part, again, this game is a pick 'em and could come down to who has the ball at the end of the game. And also that game could probably go into overtime. So watch out for the overtime on that one. If I'm a betting man, I would pick the over for everything in that game. Over passing yards, over rushing yards. It's going to be Might be one of them games we look back on and both teams combined for 800 to 900 yardage, total yardage of that game. So, get your popcorn ready for Monday night because that one should be a good one. Dominique says, gonna be another great game. I'm gonna say Bills. You can't go wrong with either one, right? We've seen both teams be able to come out there, fisticuffs, beating up on each other. Thank y'all once again for tuning in to XtalknIsh on a Sunday on a new year, literally it's 2023. Happy New Year to all of y'all. We thank y'all for joining us once again. See y'all on Tuesday for Week 17 recap. And I will see y'all tomorrow for that Monday Night Football game. If y'all want to talk about that game, please hit me up because that'd be interesting to talk about. Other than that, hope y'all enjoy y'all's Sunday. And if you are off tomorrow like I am, I hope y'all enjoy your another off day before you head back into work. With that being said, I hope you have a good one. See you next time.